How you doing there, YouTube? Yes, definitely show some of that YouTube love. Oh, you're asking me how can you do that? It's very simple. Just like, comment, subscribe on the channel. I'll definitely be bringing you some reviews here. Drop reviews very frequently here. So the movie I'm talking about is one directed by. Um, well, let me just go. Well, it's going to be The Watchers. So The Watchers is the directorial debut of M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, Shauna Night Shyamalan, and hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. My pronunciation of names is bad sometimes, but so Ashana Night Shyamalan directed this. Her father actually produced the movie, so she wrote and she directed this movie. So The Watchers stars Dakota Fanning and Georgina Campbell. Now, of course, people probably know who Dakota Fanning is. You know, we've been watching her act since she was a little girl. She's been in so many, movies, throughout my childhood, my generation's childhoods as well. And then Georgina Campbell. For those who don't know, she was the main character in Barbarian, which is a really good horror film of 2022 that I actually forgot to review. I meant to review that movie, and I might still do it. I know I've said it in another video, I believe, but I'll probably still review that movie. And then she was also in the sequel to Bird Box Barcelona, which I did review. If you want to go back through my channel and see what I thought about that movie. So now we have these actors or actresses, however, in this movie, directed by M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, and her directorial debut. So, what is Watchers about? So, Watchers is pretty much a movie about. Dakota Fanning's character in the movie, she's really troubled. She has a really dark past, and she's trying to get over that dark past. And I won't tell you what that is because that comes up like in the middle of the film. So she so in order to kind of confront this past, she goes to this she goes up to this cabin. I believe she was invited or something like that to this cabin out in the middle of the woods, and she takes her talking bird with her, pretty much just as a bird that was given to her by the store that she works at. And so she heads out, and it's all these people that are missing. And you'll kind of see it when you'll kind of see it from the opening when the movie starts. So she gets out to this place, and suddenly the electronics are acting weird. Her car dies. She's like, "What's going on here?" And then she runs into these three bizarre people who said that they've pretty much been at this cabin for a very long time. They tell her, once you come to these woods, there's no escape. You can't get out of here. So, their whole thing is, so they come here and they pretty much have to survive from these monsters known as the Watchers. And they basically prowl, through the woods and things like that. So, one thing I do admire about this movie, that I really do like about this movie is the lighting and the atmosphere. M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, or if it was him, I don't know who was more involved in it, but I say he only gave himself a producer credit. But her lighting is amazing. Like, there's moments where this movie does look really good, and there's times where it's like creepy and it's gloomy. It gives like that dark kind of fantasy feel to it in a way. but it's kind of like a modern movie, but it's mixed with like a fantasy, almost like gothic horror type deal. Honestly, that's what this kind of reminded me of a little bit with the way it looked. Was kind of like a gothic horror look she was trying to go for. Especially when you see the effects on the Watchers, and I'm pretty sure a lot of those effects were CG. Especially like when you see one stand like straight up and he's like super tall. He's kind of like the Slender Man tall. So I think that is really amazing. Like I said, really beautiful movie, and then I think the performances, the acting is really good too. Especially out of the other two newcomers, I don't know who those two are. Like I said, I know who Georgina Campbell is. I know who Dakota Fanning is, because for the most of the movie, they're the only four people in the movie. Because again, this almost feels like a, you know what this felt like to me? This felt like a M. Night Shyamalan bottle film a little bit. Like it seems like she's taken from her dad. Definitely taking from her dad in some ways, because again, you know, she she does the tricks and stuff like that, and then it's the tricks with the camera and kind of like, again, just the lighting, the mood, the way everything looks. It reminds you of a M. Night Shyamalan film. So, but also, now I'm being positive here, but I'm going to get into the negative here. I didn't like this movie. I think this movie goes about as far as that, and then it just completely disappoints. This is one of those movies where the trailer looks amazing, because you're like, man, what is going on? You know, the Watchers, what's going on? This is a movie that works as like a trailer, and that's kind of it. Because when you see the movie, I'm gonna be. I hate to jump on his daughter like this. This script is garbage. I don't know. So the whole time I was watching this, and I hate to be harsh, this movie, I couldn't help it. The whole time I was watching this movie, it was giving me Lady in the Water vibes. Like that's how like this movie reminded me so bad of Lady in the Water. This is almost like she watched Lady in the Water and was like, you know what? I think I can take this movie and make like a sequel to it or something, or like another version of Lady in the Water, because this feels like. There's a lot of folklore in this that deals with the Watchers and stuff like that. A lot of folklore about like fairies and how they were enslaved and stuff like that. I was in and I think the whole time I watched this movie, the more I got confused and the more I just didn't really care anymore, and the more boring it got, because a lot of this movie is pretty much them running away from these Watchers and hiding out in a cabin, and a whole lot of nothing happening in between. And this is filled with M. Night Shyamalan dialogue. See, it's almost like she doesn't even have her own identity as a director. She doesn't even have her own style. It almost feels like she just took she literally just looked at M. Night, her dad's movies, especially particularly Lady in the Water, because this is I'm starting to feel like this is Lady in the Water bad. If y'all ever seen that movie's terrible. But Lady in the Water, like this movie gave me like Lady in the Water vibes, like I was watching that movie all over again. Because they explain a lot of terminology and stuff like that, and they never really build up on it. Just like Lady in the Water, they just bring up a whole bunch of terminology and stuff like that, and you're looking for an explanation or why that even came into pass, or why is that even a thing in the movie. And the movie just doesn't even bother explaining it. It just keeps moving. The ending, I think, is terrible. Like, it got to the point to where I just didn't really care anymore about the ending. They because there is a twist in this too, and it's a weak twist. It's not really like a oh my goodness twist. It's kind of like because at this point, once you get up to the movie, you're just kind of shrugging your shoulders like, okay, I don't really care. Um, so I there's another thing I say about this movie too. And that's nepotism. Look, I get it. M. Night Shyamalan, he's a very up and down director. You know, he's not very consistent. Um, you know, a lot of people weren't very receptive towards his new movie Trap, which I hope to review sometime. Which I will review sometime. So like, so this feels like the worst of M. Night Shyamalan, right? With the stilted dialogue, where people talk, everybody in here talks very stoic and emotionless to make the movie seem like it's smarter than what it actually is. Because the whole time these people are talking, you're like, I don't understand what's going on. There's even research scenes in here where they do research on the creature. That's starting to become a common theme in horror films now. I'm starting to dislike because everybody's doing it now. But they do a research thing to research the monster or whatever, and it's like I don't. It's frustrating because this is what I can't stand about, you know. And I'm a writer, right? So I'm a writer. I write books. The thing I can't stand about people who publish, publishers, people in high places like big time directors like M. Night Shyamalan, and maybe to my extent, maybe it is, or maybe it's no fault of theirs, you know, because a kid, you know, came to them and was like, hey, you know, I have an idea for a movie. Let me go direct a movie. And they're like, sure, you know, you're not gonna say no to your kids, right? But my thing is, you have so many people out there who have really good screenplays, possibly award-winning screenplays, and they get passed up for just because this is the director's daughter, and and I'm sorry, like this is not a good script. This is just not. I don't feel like there was really any serious thought put into this. Like there's some ideas, but I don't know what that idea is because again, I was really confused, especially even when the movie ended. I still didn't really know what was going on. I think this is like an allegory for. I'm assuming this is an allegory for the main character to face her demons. That's just saying without spoiling anything. But I think this whole movie was kind of an allegory to face her demons. But even then, certain things that are put into place, it's explained in a way to where, okay, you explain that thing, but now that thing you explain that needs an explanation, and then now that thing you've explained that needs an explanation. It's basic screenwriting, and I just don't feel like I feel like this movie, I honestly feel like his daughter didn't really have like an idea for a script, really. I just felt like this was something that she saw her dad do. Again, like she watched Lady in the Water or something, was like, you know what? I have an idea for a script too. And it just ended up being just like Lady in the Water. So I feel like this movie kind of has some good parts of M. Night Shyamalan's movies, but this then has some of the worst parts of his movies too. And that's why I'm more in the do not recommend. I was kind of in between do not recommend and a low recommend. You know what? No, I was bored by this one. I am gonna give this one a do not recommend. I'm sorry. This, I mean, again, I know this is his daughter directing this, but just because you know how to direct and you have really good movies under your belt, that doesn't mean your daughter is going to follow in your footsteps. You know, maybe this isn't her thing. You know, like I said, it looks good, but again, this looks like M. Night Shyamalan could have had his hand in the directing and things like that. So, yep, This one's a do not recommend for me, y'all. I couldn't sit through this. I was actually waiting for this movie to be over. Other than the positives I gave it. So I don't know. So did you did you like The Watchers? Shauna Night Shyamalan's The Watchers. Do you think I'm crazy for not liking it? Just go ahead to the comment section and let me know what you thought about it. And I will see you next review. Peace.